Councilor Crittenden, would you please bless us?
Father, you're good to us. We just want to come to you thank for this day and all of us being here to do what we do here and try to just help our Cherokee people. Go with us now as we finish up our day, and just watch out for us as we travel home. We love you. Most of all, thank you for Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Shelley, would you please conduct roll call?
Yes, sir. Keith Austin.
Here.
Joshua Sam. Here. Danny Callison. Here. Julia Coates. Here. Sean Crittenden. Here. Joe Deere. Mike Dobbins. Rex Jordan. Here. Johnny Kidwell. Here. Darrell Legg. Here. Wes Snowfire. Here. Dora Petzkowski. Here. Mike Shambaugh. Here. Melvina Shotpouch. E.O. Smith. Here. Condessa Teehee. Victoria Vesquez. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And I'd entertain a motion for approval of the June 19th regular session minutes. All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That takes us to our reports. And today, Mr. Garrett has contacted me and asked if he could report to us once instead of once now and once 30 minutes from now. So he'll be reporting to us in council. That takes us to the treasurer's report. And I see Treasurer Taylor right there.
Thank you. First, I want to say that if you guys did not see Counselor Dr. Condessa Teehee and the ribbon skirt event, you should definitely watch it. She owned it, and I loved it. So that was an awesome event. A couple of things that are not on the report. We did hold financial resources training in the Chodas Center earlier in June. That is a training that historically the Office of Financial Resources has held every year to train employees of Cherokee Nation that maybe enter requisitions or need to schedule travel or anything that they do that has to do with the Office of Financial Resources. And it's just a way to help them get their processes down and answer any questions in a smaller environment. And we had over 400 people attend that training, so we were very pleased with the response to that. And people were happy to be there. I think people were happy to be anywhere. We hadn't had that training since 2019, so that was definitely a success. And then I also wanted to report, Samantha was here earlier reporting from HR and the hiring that they have been able to do. And in our accounts payable department, it has not been fully staffed since I have been here, and it is currently fully staffed. So I'm thankful for that, for what it means to the staff that is there, but also I want to shout out to Human Resources for getting the ball rolling on all that. And then lastly, we are right in the midst of preparing the FY24 budget. So that will be before those of you remaining counselors here in, it's still about 6 weeks away, but we are in the thick of that preparation. So before I do my special presentation, does anybody have any questions from my regular report? Okay. If not, I do have some of my staff with me today. If you'll indulge me just a minute, I would like to introduce them because I could not do what I do and turn out the reports that I do without the people behind me. So if you will, I'm just going to start on the end. Diane Kelly is not in my staff. I haven't been able to get her over there yet. First is Tanya Johnson, and she is the Grants Compliance Officer in Finance. She plays an integral role in making sure that we are compliant with all of the grants that we have. And she also does a lot as far as reporting goes and working with the auditors and that sort of thing. Next to her is Ashley Canoe, who is the Director of Tribal Revenue. Connie Chandler is third on the list. Betty Stover is the she checks all the federal regulations, makes sure that we are compliant with that. And then Jamie Cole, the controller, most of you know him. He is the lifeblood of financial resources. And so I'm going to report to you on a couple of audits and reviews that we have had done recently. And this team back here is the one that did the bulk of the work on that, and I'm very appreciative to have the staff that I have. So I do want to thank you for giving me a little bit of time to brag on my staff and also brag on the work that we're doing in the Office of Financial Resources. 2 reports I want to talk about, and the first one is the single audit. And a single audit is a review, an in-depth review of our federal funds. Any entity that spends over $750,000 in federal funds in a year is subject to a single audit. Last year, the Cherokee Nation spent over $1 billion in federal funds. This is by far not the first year we've had a single audit. We have them every year. We always do really well with them. But it is especially important because we do receive over half of our budgeted funds through federal awards. I want to give you a little bit of reference. This is a diagram of our federal funds for the last 5 years. It starts in 2018, but from 2019 to present, we have tripled the dollars in federal funds. And the audit firm has to figure out what programs they're going to audit. There's no way they could audit all of our programs. There's a formula that they use. It's based on how long it's been since a program's been audited, the size, the dollar amount of that program that you have. And then it also depends on whether the auditee, which is Cherokee Nation, is high or low risk. Cherokee Nation is a low-risk auditee, and that does reduce the amount of things that are audited from us. So these are the programs that they chose to audit this time. We don't know until the audit starts what they're going to be looking at. So it is somewhat difficult to prepare, but most of these funds were funded with COVID dollars. They were taking a special look at that. And then also our programs that are funded through the Head Start cluster. Here is the auditor's report, and I don't know how well you can see that, but we received an unmodified report. Then the auditors go on to say that they did not find any weaknesses in either reporting or internal control, and we fully complied with the requirements of our federal funds. There are no findings, and once again, we are qualified as a low-risk auditee. You can see that at the very bottom of that slide. Being a low-risk auditee saves the tribe a lot of money because it just means they don't have to look at as many programs, as many transactions. They can go into the audit with a reasonable expectation that everything is going to be in order. This is where the schedule of findings would be. And you can see there are no financial findings and no federal award findings or question cost. So this speaks to the level of integrity of the Office of Financial Resources and the stewardship of the money that we have. We would never do anything to jeopardize the reputation with the federal partners that we work with. So incidentally, the state of Oklahoma released their audit this same week, and this is their report. They have material weaknesses identified, and the auditors issued qualified opinions on a lot of their major programs, including the coronavirus relief funds. Now, following this page of the report was 129 pages of findings and questionable costs. So that makes me even more proud of our team, that our report's real thin because there's no finding or costs. And then at the very bottom of that, auditee is not a low-risk auditee, so that means more taxpayer dollars going to reviewing the books of the state of Oklahoma. So moving on, I want to share with you a review that we had through the Office of the Inspector General on our CARES Act spending. In May of '22, I was notified that there had been a complaint filed with Treasury regarding some of our spending of the CARES money. The whistleblower alleged that we were unjustified using CARES Act money to purchase the property in Sequoyah County. The issue with an accusation of this sort is it it was totally without merit, but even so, Treasury has to do their due diligence and dig into it. And what followed was an in-depth review of not only the Sequoia property, but all spending of our CARES funds. So here is the table. This is taken from our actual report that is now posted on the Office of Inspector General's website. On the left shows the total dollars. Well, on the very left are the categories. There's 7 reporting categories. The next column over is the total dollars spent per category. And I want to call your attention to the totals at the bottom. We received $410 million in CARES Act funding, and at the time that we completed this audit, well, at the time that we did this audit, we had spent $409 million of that. Moving over another category, they reviewed expenditures of $255 million, almost $266 million. So then you move over to the next column, the next 2 columns that are blank. That is where any exceptions that were unsupported, meaning we didn't have the proper documentation or the proper justification for it, or if it was an ineligible use of the CARES dollars. 0 out of almost $56 million, they didn't find that we had misspent 1 penny. Yes, thank you. Then on the right, they further break out the value of the transactions that are without exception, and of course it is everything they tested. So the full report provides a lengthy concurrence on the reasonableness and necessity of the purchase of the Sequoia property, and it ends with this quote: "Based on Castro's review of the documentation for the purchase and our follow-up with Treasury Management, we are not questioning this purchase of land." So this is the last paragraph in their total report. They address specifically the land purchase because that was what the complaint was filed over, but then they didn't restrict their review to that. They looked at pretty much everything. And their conclusion on the audit, and this is a quote from the audit: "Based on our review of the Cherokee Nation's documentation supporting the uses of CRF proceeds as reported in the Grant Solutions portal, we determined that the expenditures comply with the CARES Act Treasury's guidance. Additionally, we determined the Cherokee Nation's risk of unallowable use of funds to be low. As such, Castro," that was the agency that actually did the review and turned it into Treasury, "is not recommending Treasury Office of Inspector General perform an audit of the Cherokee Nation." Could not have turned out any better. So while we were 100% within the spending categories, the eligibility, all of that, I want to point out what this cost Cherokee Nation because somebody filed a complaint with nothing to go on. It cost us almost $200,000 in tribal funds to respond to these allegations. 1,256 man-hours were diverted away from services to the Cherokee Nation to mess with this review. So we're always there to answer questions, but it is disheartening when things like this come up and it takes our time and energy away from our citizens. So that's all I have. If you have any questions regarding that review, I'll be happy to answer them.
Well, thank you, Treasurer, for that presentation. It's very valuable for us to have this information, to us to understand this. And I applaud your team. Literally, we applaud your team. The team is the reason that it all goes like it does. So thank you, and thank your team again.
And my team should be aware that I worked very closely with Keith the whole time I was on the council, and so he's saying that it's the teamwork that makes the dream work. It's not me.
It always has been. Nothing new about that.
Yeah.
Are there questions for Treasurer Taylor? You answered everything. Okay.
I got to say it because it's deserved, and I know we're all thinking it, but man, that, you did a great job. You and your team did a great job. And it is so unfortunate that this is what we deal with at times in the Cherokee Nation is unsubstantiated things, accusations without proof. This is exactly, this is the poster thing of saying how hurtful this can be with us. You know, so, gosh, I applaud you. You have, there's never been any doubt, because I know what the record you made us keep, what you made us do. You made everybody accountable. So, Treasurer, you and your group have done a great job, and you have done a great service to the people of the Cherokee Nation. You definitely have. Thank
Well,
you.
and we would do the same even if we knew nobody was looking at our books.
Sure.
That's the reason it comes out
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you all.
Yes, I was sitting there thinking while you were doing that about that there's been a few times when I've requested, not requested so much as inquired about something that I would like to see maybe if we could fund, and the answer comes back and no, it doesn't fit. No, it doesn't fit. It's like, well, dang. Sure like to make that one fit, could we? But no, we can't make it fit if it doesn't fit. If it does not fit, we can't make it fit. We appreciate you and your team very much. It was a great presentation. Thank you again. It is very rare that Diane Kelly has to follow something of that magnitude. But Diane Kelly, it's all yours.
Today. You have my report. When it comes to economic development, we have actually been out and about in Muskogee County, Sequoia County, Mays County, here in Cherokee County. We've had a few recruitment fairs for some of these businesses that we've been working with. And I have to applaud my staff because they're the ones that actually are out there working with these people, trying to help them find jobs. And I can't say enough about Hunter Palmer and the team that's been out there working, and Channing and her team. We try to make things happen. We try to work with Samantha on all the jobs that are vacant. I've been working with her, going to be working with her on another project here shortly to help her try to get some of these positions filled. And can't say enough about the teamwork that goes on here at the Cherokee Nation. I know that the Provalis that's here in Cherokee County reached out to us, and the staff have been working diligently to help them try to find jobs for the people. When you look at what we're doing as far as our training programs, I told you in the last meeting that we've been working a lot with the health department on nursing, and we're doing a lot in construction, linemen, fiber. All these people are finding jobs, and they're good paying jobs, and it's very gratifying to see these people going out there, and when you see the success stories that we're putting in our reports and what they're getting to do as a result of the services that we deliver here at Cherokee Nation, it's very heartwarming. And I just want to say thank you all for your support of our program and our staff. And I'd like to acknowledge Councilman Legg and Councilman E.O. Smith. They were at a ceremony. The Salisod Chamber of Commerce recognized the Career Services Department this past month for the work that we've done down there in their community as far as economic development. And these two council members were there to help us be recognized. And it was very gratifying, and we appreciate the help and support we get from you all. Are there any questions?
Are there questions for Diane today?
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Anna, that brings us to you, representing Commerce. Well, you're not Anna Knight.
Unfortunately,
Stephen.
she could not be here today, so she sent me in her place. So thank you all for allowing me to be here. You have a copy of her report. If there are any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them, or I can take them back to Anna and get you the answer that you need.
Do we have any questions for Stephen today? Sorry. Thank you, Stephen. That takes us to our consent items, and we've all had opportunity to review those. Unless anybody has something they want to call attention to, those will all be passed without question. Anything you want to add to that, Jody? No. All right. All right, thank you. That'll take us to old business, none pending, so new business. We have 2 items today. And Josh, Sam, would you please take the first one?
Yes, this is an act amending legislative act number 29-22, authorizing the comprehensive capital budget for fiscal year 2023, Mod 8, and declaring an emergency, and I put this in form of a motion.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Goes to full council today? Okay. No discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign? All right, that passes. And then number 2, Mr. Shambaugh, would you take that?
This is an act amending legislative act number 30-22, authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2023, Mod 10, and declaring an emergency, and I put that in the form of a motion.
Are there any questions? Any discussion? All right. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right, that passes, and I assume that goes to full council as well. All right, that takes us to the end, and I will entertain one more motion. Second. All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Hang around.